wider viewing and listening public of Trinidad and Tobago. We have always said from inception, when we began having the conversation, the national conversation on COVID-19, then known as coronavirus, that this is a very fluid situation. We are seeing around the world countries, and it is not isolated to Trinidad and Tobago, having to deal with, on an hourly basis, different matters related to COVID-19 coming at them. You've seen in the last 24 hours the government of the United Kingdom taking decisions to shut down their school system, and then last night for them, on Friday, taking a decision to close all bars across the United Kingdom. Anyone who understands the culture of the United Kingdom will understand the far-reaching consequences of such a decision in the United Kingdom. But the United Kingdom took that decision. You've also seen in certain states and certain cities in the United States similar decisions being taken. You have seen a number of countries come after Trinidad and Tobago and have public declarations and decisions that only their nationals could return to their home states. We took that decision earlier than the vast majority of the world. You've seen in the last 48 hours, the United States, Canada, and Mexico take decisions to close off their borders. I say all of this to put into context the global decision-making that is taking place, and where we, Trinidad and Tobago, are doing, as the government, what needs to be done to continue to protect as best as we can the population of Trinidad and Tobago. But the actions are what count at this time. The population would look on, you would hear some very hollow talk by persons, and unfortunately politicians at this stage, saying certain things, but their actions being completely different. At this time, in order to keep the curve down, as you've heard the medical experts say, and we continue on a daily basis, hourly basis, to be receiving the expert advice from the Minister of Health and his staff, the Chief Medical Officer and his staff, and that is what we, the government, are using to make the difficult decisions, but the necessary decisions to protect you, the population, and the public of Trinidad and Tobago. It brings me absolutely no joy to have to address the population this morning on some very irresponsible behavior that has taken place in the last 24 hours by the opposition. The opposition talked a good talk about being socially responsible and about not wanting to cause a sense of panic and not contributing to the whole misinformation that is taking place. But then you had one of their members of parliament calling for, and is being widely reported by the media today, with respect to the closure of bars, you should continue to allow bars open to serve food and for people to come there and buy their drinks. That is nonsensical, and that is why I started off by saying that in countries all around the world, and anyone who's been to the United Kingdom, understanding their culture of the bar system, would understand for them to go to the extent that they have in shutting down all bars, Trinidad and Tobago taking a decision before that, we are more than on the right track. You had state of California declaring a stay in, everyone stay in their house. So to try and mislead the population and to say that persons want to come to bars to buy food or to buy a drink, you can go to the grocery and buy your drinks and drink it in the safety of your home. The only way we will stop the spread of this virus is by lack of contact and social personal responsibility. And the government took the decisive action to say that we will shut bars. We understand the difficulty that this causes businesses. We are very mindful of that. That came up in our discussions or the deliberations, but it is not business as usual, unfortunately, around the globe. So we have to take these hard decisions to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago, including the family members of the owners of these establishments. I was a little upset as well to hear, as we were sitting preparing and discussing with the CMO, Minister of Communication, Minister of Health, and the Permanent Secretary before coming to this press conference, we received information that betting shops continue to be open at this time. They fall under the categorization of the clubs. And it's not only about the law. People, it is about your own personal social responsibility. Understand you do not want to draw persons. So we said the casinos, we've said nightclubs, we've said theaters, and I am proud that we in Trinidad and Tobago took that decision yesterday, because I'm reading now and seeing that there's some countries in the world, for example, the United Kingdom, that are talking about it, and the government is telling them, the owners, prepare because this is the next step. The only way you beat the curve is by taking these difficult decisions. So I condemn the opposition for continuing along that line, and you, the members of the public, will decide. The government is not doing these things for any other reason than a sense of duty based on the medical expert advice to contain and to do the best that we can to contain this virus from spreading in Trinidad and Tobago. What you're seeing in the biggest economy of the world, the powerhouse of the United States right now, should be a reality check and a wake-up call to the rest of the world. You're seeing certain states, certain cities saying that their medical supplies are under constraint right now. You're seeing doctors saying in the United States that they're reusing PPE equipment. Trinidad and Tobago's government is doing everything we can to prevent us from getting there. And it requires the personal, social responsibility of every person, and that must include the opposition and the politicians there. You then had a case that you heard the Minister of Health refer to a short while ago. Well, actually, this is another one. There are persons who are stranded right now in other countries. For example, Margarita, Venezuela. I'm getting messages about Guyana. But that is because those countries, those sovereign states, have taken this decision to protect their countries and their people by shutting down their airports. There is nothing that Trinidad and Tobago can do or would try to do to persuade another sovereign state to open their airport. If they take a decision to close their airport, that is their decision, and that is why I referred to, if you can understand Canada and the United States closing their border, what that means. The United States closing its border with Mexico, what that means. As of today, Guyana, Venezuela, Argentina, Colombia have shut down their borders, have closed their international airports. So to have the leader of the opposition say something as irresponsible as send a plane to bring home people, it shows, as I said, it is not about talk, it is about the actions. Of course, we would love for every national and citizen of Trinidad and Tobago to be here in the safe confines of Trinidad and Tobago. But as every country takes a decision, that is a decision to not only protect their country, but to protect the globe. This virus, as we've been hearing, as we've been seeing, spreads by contact. So we denounce these very irresponsible acts and the continuation by the opposition to create a sense of fear, a sense of misinformation, and to mislead the population. The government is very mindful of what is going on. I was told by our embassy in Caracas they've been in touch with the persons in Margarita. They're making arrangements as best as can be. This is not confined to us alone. And the United States, with all of their military planes that they can fly into anywhere in the world, have not taken those types of decisions for their citizens who are stuck in countries that have closed their borders and closed their international airports. This virus spreads by contact. And anyone who doesn't understand that at this stage has a serious problem. And that is not a message to the population. That is a message to the politicians. Stop politicking. The government took decisions, and these decisions are in furtherance of how we protect and secure the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Right? We understand that there will be job loss. But as the Honorable Prime Minister said in a conversation with me a short while ago, we are the ones who must take these hard and difficult decisions. Job loss for a temporary time versus loss of life. Because that is what the lack of containment of the virus can mean. We recognize the difficulties that people are going to face personally. But the public interest and the balancing exercise is about protection of life. Having said all of that, The government has taken a decision, and I'm announcing it now, that as of midnight tomorrow night, we will be closing off our borders completely. So as of midnight tomorrow night, Sunday, 22nd of March, we will no longer be allowing international flights into Trinidad and Tobago. We will be closing our borders. We will, of course, continue to allow, under the restrictions that we have currently, the cargo vessels to come to Trinidad and Tobago. We have put protocols in place to deal with that. The global pharmaceuticals, food, supplies continue to come to Trinidad and Tobago. We have our protocols in place. That is working very well. We're not allowing the crews to disembark. I have been in constant discussions with our major energy companies over the last 5 days, and we're facilitating them continuing in a safe manner the continuation of their operations. They have been acting responsibly. I'd like to thank them. I'd also like to thank all of our frontline workers, in particular the health workers, who are doing a tremendous job. Our services, or law enforcement services. I had a meeting yesterday with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the Defense Force, which leads me to another point. The government has been pleading with the population to listen to our advice, listen to the advice of our experts, and to self-discipline, to be socially responsible. There are still some elements that refuse to take on and heed this advice, and that is what puts the rest of the population at risk in the spread of this virus. We will enforce the law. So anybody who has misread the government to say that we will not enforce the law, and in particular the regulations that were passed between yesterday and today to close down bars, in-house dining at restaurants, clubs, and what was the other category? And cinemas. We will enforce the law. But of course, we're asking people to take the decisions yourself and to be responsible. To just finish off one of the points Minister Dayal Singh made, from a very early stage in how we were handling COVID-19, we cancelled all government travel, all non-essential emergency travel. At the cabinet level, we took that decision in our various ministries. We stopped approving any traveling. And that is what we've been asking people to do. But now the government has taken the decision to protect the people in Trinidad and Tobago. As of midnight tomorrow night, we will no longer, until further notice, be accepting international flights and international travel into Trinidad and Tobago, whether you're national or non-national or not. This is constantly being analyze, and we continue to look at it, and we'll continue to be guided by our health experts, and we will at the appropriate time make the necessary announcements if it has to be adjusted, as it will when we get over this. But we will only get over this if we all work together and do what we as the individuals have to do for our brothers, as being our brother and sisters keepers. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister of Security. Thank you, Minister of National